Hi, today's video is on selecting the best solution. So let's get started. Introduction. With this assignment, your team is going to develop a statement of purpose to help guide you as you go forward. You're going to brainstorm many concept ideas, and then from those, select the best ideas, the most promising ones. You'll further develop each selected idea, and then document each product concept. Your team's going to be tasked with using a decision matrix again. This time you're going to pick your 3 best ideas. You've been reaching out to people, right? Because by the end of this, you're going to have to present your ideas to people and get their feedback. To gain this perspective, your team will create a visual aid to showcase your 3 conceptual ideas. This way, you can reach out to your potential consumers, stakeholders, or even field experts and get a real solid sense of how your idea is going. That means these people, these reviewers or evaluators, can take an opportunity here to give you that needed feedback regarding your concepts. This is useful when it comes to your technical reporting. As a team, you'll then critically consider all of this feedback and incorporate the appropriate suggestions. This means your team is going to be finishing the process of selecting your final design. Your team will have to make a hard decision which design is the best one to choose. This means you're going to have to start refining some of those designs and then use the decision matrix even one more time to pick from the top ones. That means it's crucial that your team uses input from outside your team. In other words, talk to people that aren't just in your team. Reach out to those experts, reach out to consumers, reach out to stakeholders. Find out from them what they think makes for a good solution. Pit those solutions against each other, and then decide from there, being as critical as you can be. This assignment is all about reflection of the work you've done, of the ideas that you have, and of what people think about the ideas that you have. Resources. Oh, hey, look, it's our good friend, Engineering Notebook and Computer/Device with Internet Access. Also, any and all work from design specification assignments and this particular assignment. And then, of course, you have brainstorming solution documents. You've been there before, right? This should look pretty familiar. Lots of stuff here for you to look at. Be sure you do. The bulk of what you'll use here deals with Scamper. You already know how to brainstorm. Now it's time to take those ideas and start smashing them together in really weird ways, or replacing one concept of an idea with another. Don't know much about Scamper? That's okay. You can click the Scamper primer and references for help. Scamper means to substitute, combine, adapt, magnify, put to other use, eliminate, or rearrange. When using the Scamper technique, these are some questions that you can ask for each of those letters. A classic example is McDonald's founder Ray Kroc. In hindsight, we can see how he's used the Scamper lens to come up with a lot of his ideas. For example, selling restaurants and real estate instead of simply hamburgers, puts other uses. Having customers pay before they eat, rearrange. Letting customers serve themselves, avoiding the use of waiters, eliminate for sure. Below, I've listed out a whole bunch of different questions that you can ask for each of those parts. Then there's the concept development document. There's a whole presentation on concept development that you could go through. You've seen most of this information before. It is 27 slides long, but I encourage you to look through it to help you along. This is also where you can find the concept test survey example. Definitely look this over. I've also provided a product concept template if you choose to use it. Here you can find a rubric for student reference only. The rubric used for this assignment can be found at the bottom of the assignment, and it's different than this one. But this is a good rubric to look over to give you some good ideas and point you in a particular direction. This is the concept analysis rubric. Again, not the one that we're using for this assignment, but it might be useful for you. Give it a look. At the end of the concept development documents, you'll also find orthographic paper and isometric paper to help you with some of the sketching you'll have to do. The last 2 resources, decision matrix and selecting solution documents. At this point, I suspect that you're pretty good at making a decision matrix. You're going to have to make some more for this assignment, so if you need it, here's the reference again. Under the selecting solutions documents, you'll find 2 useful resources: selecting solution path presentation and selecting the best solution rubric. This is the rubric that you'll find at the bottom of this assignment and that's used to assess this assignment. The presentation, it's not bad. You'll notice that it's 22 slides long and it has a lot of information about how to go through using a decision matrix. There's even some notes at the bottom of it. That's why I wanted to show it to you as a PowerPoint. I recommend that you download it, look at it, go through it as a team, make sure that you're utilizing your rating system really well. And then at the very end of this, you'll find how they've weeded out ideas that maybe don't cut the mustard so well. Is it cut the mustard or is it cut the muster? Why would you cut mustard? It's liquid. What are you cutting it with? Did a Google search for it, probably from likening the pungency of the spice mustard as a superlative or as something that adds zest to a situation, possibly derived from the idiom to pass muster, an expression for assembling military troops for inspection. I guess that fits. We got to the coolest part, hence the sunglasses. Procedure. This assignment is broken into 4 processes: brainstorming and concept development process, initial concept selection process, concept analysis process, and final concept selection process. You can't split these 4 processes apart and do them individually. You have to work together as a team. At the end of this assignment, your team will have all this information gathered, ready to be used in your portfolio/technical report and in your PDR, your design proposal. You need to make sure that you do your own assessment of this by using that selecting the best solution rubric. With all that said, to begin any of these processes, your team must start by stating their purpose. That means that your team needs to review their design specifications and problem statement as a team and create what's called a statement of purpose. As you get around to it, you need to make modifications to your design specifications. So your statement of purpose is like a design statement for EDD. It should loosely state what your product should do to respond to the problem statement that your team's come up with. It should not provide specific details that describe a particular type of solution. Document your statement of purpose in your ENBs and alongside your problem statement anywhere that you have it in your technical reports or your portfolio. Brainstorming and concept development process rarely is your first idea ever going to turn into your final solution. Best solutions usually come from generating a large number of design ideas and then using your specifications to systematically pick which of those ideas are the most promising ones and then do some more investigation into those ideas. To evaluate the relative merit of alternate ideas, each design concept must be developed to a point at which its characteristics can be compared to the characteristics of other ideas and existing products, like your similar solutions matrix did, but only now you're comparing your ideas to those ideas as well as your ideas to other ideas that you also have. To communicate the features and function of a design idea, designers commonly create a product concept document that includes a visual representation of the idea, such as things like a sketch, maybe even a 3D model, and to go along with it, a written description. Basically, this is your way of showing us what you thought of as a good idea, showing your team what you think is a good idea, and being able to look at these ideas sketched up, modeled, and annotations, paragraphs, things written about them so that you have all your bases covered, visual, auditory, and written. So to do all of this, your team is tasked with brainstorming concepts that might solve your team's problem. They could satisfy your team's design specifications. They could be used if iteration is necessary later on in the design process. Whatever type of brainstorming technique that your team comes up with to use for this, they need to begin the brainstorming by doing the following. Record every idea that every teammate comes up with. Brainstorm at least 10 different concepts or ideas. These don't need to be fully developed concepts or even solve every part of the problem. Start small by thinking about solutions to pieces of the problem. By all means, utilize the various techniques found in the brainstorming solution documents, but for sure, you need to keep these rules of brainstorming in mind. Remember, quantity, not quality. No idea is a bad idea. Encourage that piling on, and a free-for-all is best for all. In other words, we want as many ideas as you can come up with. We don't care how good they might be. No idea is ever going to be considered a bad idea, so don't criticize the ideas. Take them in, write them down, keep moving on. Encourage that piling on. One idea might lead to another idea, so build upon those ideas. free for all is best for all, don't forget that you should be thinking outside of the box. Be as creative or as silly as you want during this time. Don't derail the team, but be creative in the way that you're thinking about a solution. Want to develop a new shoe? Maybe it should have jet propulsion for some reason. Want to have laces that tie themselves? Maybe you want to have fingernails at the ends of your, I don't know, whatever. You get the idea. The second thing that you're going to do for this part is now use Scamper to generate many more ideas. You're going to continue brainstorming. You need to shoot for having at least 30 ideas in total, if not more. These could be new ideas, or these could be enhanced ideas that pile on your team's current list of at least 10. See the information under that Scamper primer and references to help you with it. Then select at least twice the number of ideas as the amount of members in your team once your team has generated enough ideas to do so, no matter how many that might be. Example, a team of 4 must select 8 of their brainstormed concepts. A team of 5 must select 10. A team of 3 must select 6. If necessary, combine ideas and concepts together. Your team can pick more than the minimum number, but pick your most promising concepts or ideas. Also keep in mind, this entire assignment is really designed to just further that brainstorming, to help you get the ideas out. Don't stop. Keep going. Put down as many ideas on paper as possible. Then assign these 8 concept ideas to the team, or depending on how big your team is, however many ideas you had to come up with. Each teammate should do the following for each concept or idea. Every one of you should do additional research as necessary and refine the concept idea. You should all create a product concept document. This should include an annotated sketch. You can use either the product concept template and or the various graph paper that you can find in the concept development documents. Be sure to include preliminary ideas about general size, shape, materials, and other product features that you think should be incorporated to address the design specification requirements. I encourage you to look at the concept development rubric as reference so that you know what's expected of you. When you're done, insert your work into your own ENBs. So everything up to this point has been about you brainstorming and coming up with different concepts. Now, we're going to go through the initial concept selection process. You have a bunch of ideas. You've developed way more than you can imagine. And then you're going to narrow those down. And then we're going to select from the ones that your teammates have done further research on and have provided some type of sketch for. So the initial concept selection process goes like this. I'm going to read this paragraph to you. So many good ideas, but only one will be developed. How do you choose the design that will lead to the best solution of the problem? In some cases, design teams do not make the choice. The decision is made externally by the customer, the client, the marketing department, or maybe even just someone else. In other cases, one particular design is somewhat arbitrarily designated as the golden design based on personal preference or intuition, perhaps by only a single person. Another method used to choose a solution path is to have the design team vote for the best design. These methods may require little time and effort on the part of the design team, but their effectiveness can vary wildly. Alternatively, using a structured selection method, like what we're going to do, can provide a more objective analysis of options, solid justification for the final selection, and often produce a better result than the methods mentioned above. A decision matrix is commonly used in the structured selection process to objectively compare alternative concepts. You're going to do like you've always done. We're going to come up with a bunch of ideas. We're going to narrow it down. You're going to pit them against each other with a decision matrix. It's objective. It's mathematic. It makes sense. The design specifications and customer needs are used as the basis of comparison to rate and rank each alternative concept. Now, you have some design specifications and you've talked to some customers, but it may be time to reach out to other people a little bit more. Based on the results of the decision matrix analysis, concepts can be eliminated, revised, or combined to create new and improved concepts. New issues that arise during the analysis may also necessitate revisions or additions to those design specifications. You may have to come back to them and make some changes. live documents, constantly changing them. If multiple promising solutions remain, a new decision matrix can be created and the process reiterated until a single design concept emerges as the best choice. There's two objectives to this part of the assignment: identify and document. So the first part, number 1, is to identify the 3 most promising concepts for your project using that decision matrix. At least one of the concepts must be an optimization of or a combination of 2 or more of your documented product concepts. In other words, if you're following along, what I'm telling you is that you have to take your ideas from the prior part of this assignment and optimize it, make it better, combine it with 1 or more ideas from that same part of this assignment. Whatever those findings are, be sure that you record them in your E&B. Make sure you also record that justification of your decisions in your E&Bs. And then number 2, that's the document part. Document any new or revised concepts using the product concept template, which is highly suggested. Remember, at this point, there should be at least 1 new or revised product concept. Right. So, at this point, we have brainstormed and come up with a bunch of different ideas, started to narrow them down and pitted them against each other using a decision matrix for our initial concept selection process. Now we're going to concept test and analyze. So we're in the concept testing and analysis process. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Reading time. Designers are often so involved in the design process that it's difficult to step back and objectively evaluate solution ideas. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes people who have a stake in the solution or knowledge related to the problem can provide constructive feedback and suggestions for improvement to conceptual solutions. Yeah, that means go out, talk to people who are involved but aren't the designers, mentors, experts, stakeholders, consumers, get their feedback. 4 goals here. They are create, identify, create, and present. You're going to create a visual aid to neatly present your team's 3 preliminary concepts. It should be visually attractive and should include the problem statement and statement of purpose in it. It should have those sketches and detailed information about each concept. Be as creative as you'd like here. Think outside of that box. Use reproductions of work, electronic versions of original sketches and documentation, or create a new website or modify the one you've already created. Goal 2 is to identify qualified individuals who can provide relevant and credible feedback on your design concepts. Stakeholders, experts, people you've probably already been in touch with. You should include people like consumers, end user stakeholders, and field experts. These may already be contacts that you've gathered. Good. This is all in line with what I've been saying. And ask your instructor, that's me, about inviting these particular people to your PDR. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Invite them. Let them know. Give them the date. Tell them. Put them in touch with me. Copy me on emails that you send to them. Let them know when it is. Encourage them to come along. Having them there will push you to make this that much better. Not to mention, they can even provide you the kind of feedback that you might need after that PDR. So now, goal 3, create. Again, we do a lot of creating in this class. Have you noticed? You might actually modify in this case. So I want you to create or modify a concept test survey that can document information about each potential consumer, end user, stakeholder, or even an expert who is completing this survey and their responses. In other words, gather information, put it together, make some way for us to see what they've said and a way for them to provide you that critical feedback. Gather information specific to your concepts that will help you improve your ideas and select the best solution path. Include questions that will allow you to gather demographic information, such as age and gender, about the consumers or the end users, whoever you may be giving this to. Provide a means for other stakeholders and field experts to share their experience related to your product. It's like a survey. It's just slightly different. How do you want to create it? That's up to you. Get it out there for them. Make it so that it helps them see what your solutions are and give you feedback on them. There may not be as much data in this case, but it's critical data. Final goal, number 4, Present your conceptual ideas to them. Give them this visual aid. Ask your participants to complete that concept test survey that your team also created. Take down what their comments are and suggestions. There's two things you're creating here. You're creating a visual aid to show them. You're creating a concept test survey, something that you can then get their feedback. These could be the same things if you're real creative with this. Or it could be two completely different things. You could develop a website, real simple to do. Some of you have already done that, and put your ideas out there and then create a Google form and have it link to that. Or embed that Google form in the website and send them the website link. I don't care how you do it, as long as in the end you've created some way of showing them your work and what you've done so that they can look it over and give you the feedback that you so desperately need for this part. So at this point, we have come up with a bunch of ideas, narrowed them down, and then started to decide what our first set of solutions should be. Initial solutions, and then we ask people to look at those initial solutions, give us their feedback so that we can refine it even further to get us down here to final concept selection process. Reading time. Brainstorming a lot of concept ideas is a challenge, but once an investment is made in fleshing out those concepts and ideas, it becomes even harder to narrow down the selection to just 3. Once the people responsible for reviewing and evaluating those ideas have shared their thoughts and opinions, your eyes will be opened yet again to the possibilities of improving these 3 concepts even further. Being able to improve and then narrow down your ideas one last time to provide a solid selection of ideas to choose from and fall back on is the focus of this process. 5 goals to this part. Review and organize, revise, improve, and update, create, compare, and revise, select, or create and optimize again if you need to, and then create and communicate. First part, review the feedback received during the concept analysis process. So all that data that you just gathered from all those people that you sent your ideas in your concept test survey, you need to organize it. You need to put it together. Make some sort of graphic representation of it. Tables, graphs, something to help you and your team look at that data. Most importantly, your team needs to understand what that data means because you have to use the feedback to revise and improve your 3 preliminary concepts as needed or as may be recommended by them. Update any of your product concept documentation that you need to reflect any of these changes. Make sure that's all put into your E&B as well as anywhere that you may be storing it digitally. Then one last time, you're going to create a decision matrix and you're going to compare the 3 remaining design concepts to include maybe any optimization that you may have. At this point, you want to be sure to revise any specifications as appropriate to better compare the more detailed concepts and address issues that have arisen during this assignment. Then once again, you're going to select as a team what you think is the best solution or the best concept. And if you need to, you can create an improved concept by optimizing one of the designs based on the results of that decision matrix assessment. You could combine ideas. You could take the best parts of each of the solutions that scored the highest if you think that's what's best. Now for the tough part. Create a document to communicate your final concept selection. The document should be created electronically, should be 8.5 by 11 in format, and it should include all of the sections detailed below and should meet any expectation set forth by me, your instructor. Beyond that, it's up to your team to ensure that this document is professional and translatable to your PDR, your design proposal. It is your team's job to create something that will persuade the decision makers, me, panel members, experts, stakeholders, mentors, to pursue the detailed design, testing, and manufacture of your product. Shark Tank it. Make us know that what you've come up with is the best possible solution. Give us that data. If you haven't figured it out, I'm basically telling you to write element D, which means you need to make sure that your document has the following things. It should have some type of title page. You should definitely have your problem statement, and you should have your statement of purpose. You should have a product description. Tell us what the product actually is and what it does. Describe the purpose and appearance of your final design concept. Tell us how you're expecting that the product will actually function or work. To do this, you need to describe the intended operation of your product. What are we putting into it? What are the inputs? What are we getting out of it? What are the outputs? What happens inside of it? What makes it do its thing? How do the inputs get turned into the outputs? Justify your project. Be real clear here. Why did you choose this concept as the final solution to pursue? How does it solve the problem? In detail, you need to tell me how it meets the design specifications. Let any panel members know why this is the better product versus any alternative product that may be out there. When you're doing this, use one or more of the goals listed below here and include some sort of discussion of the constraints and the criteria from your design specification. Tell us about how it saves money, saves time, saves energy, improves the quality of someone's life, saves lives or prevents injury, reduces hassle, improves some function that isn't improved upon with solutions that are already out there. Justify your product. Provide an appendice that has these things. Keep in mind, there's a lot of iteration going on during this time. When your team has finished this work and you go to turn in the assignment, submit along with it this document that you created to show all of this work. It'll be assessed using the Selecting the Best Solution rubric, which is found in the Selecting Solution documents and found below. 75 points. I'm looking at optimization of design concepts, your documentation, and your justification. Look this over. Well, that brings us to the end of this video, selecting the best solution. It's a tricky task, but I think you're up to it. Let me know if you have any questions, if you run into some problems. Hopefully, you'll be able to solve them on your own, but I'm here if you need me. I sure do hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.